is I, John, a regular uncommon voice for the common man, coming to you today live from Shadyside, Ohio, where I got more than a few things to say about the tragic incident in Afghanistan yesterday where a U.S. soldier allegedly killed 16 Afghan civilians. Now, before I go on, I am going to explain to you why this happened, who's to blame for it, and what needs to happen next. As for why this happened, what is going on here, of course, if you remember, after the accidental burning of the Korans, their worthless president, that warlord Hamid Karzai, could have gone to the microphones and explained to the Afghan people that we seem to love so much these days that this was indeed just an accident and not to get all upset about it. Did he do that? No. And of course, violence ensued. The Taliban made more out of this than what it was, using it as anti-American propaganda, and of course Karzai just let it go on. And in this escalating violence, Afghan soldiers took their weapons and killed 6 of our soldiers. Now, Big Daddy Obama, of course, the man who is not a Muslim, was instantly apologizing for the burning of these Korans. But there was never any apology from Hamid Karzai and these worthless, non-appreciative Afghan government about what happened to our soldiers. That's right, there was no apology. There was no investigation as to who did it. There are no charges brought against anybody that actually did kill our soldiers. So, of course, this thing is just all brushed under the table and we all forget about it. And then we have this little incident today. And, of course, today we have all the repercussions from this. Of course, the anti-American is going to be fueled. The anti-Americanism will be fueled again. And, of course, why this happened. You know why this happens is because our worthless commander-in-chief, the man who is not a Muslim, never once has the back of our brave men and women in military. Unless you just happen to have an Islamic last name, like Nadal Hassan. Remember, after Nadal Hassan went on his rampage and killed soldiers at Fort Hood, the man who is not a Muslim instantly runs up to the microphone and says that we should not, quote-unquote, jump to conclusions. But, of course, this guy that is in custody now in Afghanistan gets absolutely none of that from his commander-in-chief. In fact, the commander-in-chief, the man who's not a Muslim, runs to the microphone and has this to say about the incident that happened. In a statement released Sunday by the White House, Obama says, quote, "This incident is tragic and shocking and does not represent the exceptional character of our military." End quote. True. The quote continues, "And the respect that the United States has for the people of Afghanistan," end quotation. Well, now let's just think about this for a little bit. Okay, so he says that the American people have respect for the Afghan people. The United States does. Well, that implies that I have respect for the Afghan people. And believe me, I don't have any respect for the Afghan people at all. As far as I'm concerned, they're nothing but a worthless bunch of ingrates. And I don't give a damn what the White House says. I don't have any use for them. Now, with that being said, so he's to blame for all this. But let's take a good long look at this, shall we? Now, apparently, this guy that did this, allegedly did this, has been on 2 tours of duty in Iraq, and then he's stationed in Afghanistan. And let me tell you something. The guy's 30-some years old, so that means he's probably been in the military since he's been in his mid-20s, which means the guy is exhausted. And not to mention the fact that our troops don't only have to be soldiers and kill people and break things, which is exactly what our military is supposed to do, they have to be goodwill ambassadors. And if you ask me, it doesn't work. You cannot fight a war politically correct. It doesn't work. But that is exactly what Obama's doing. And every time something like this happens, he always takes the sides of the Islamo-loving leftist people, and I just don't understand it. This guy also was stationed in a base up in the Pacific Northwest, and apparently, according to Stars and Stripes, it's one of the most troubling bases in the United States. Well, for one thing, it's in Washington State, and if I had to associate with those left-wing wackos on a day-in, day-out basis up there, hell, I'd be a damn mental case, too. And has something to explain some of it also. But the simple fact of the matter is that this thing is out of control in Afghanistan. We cannot fight a politically correct war no matter how hard we try. And nobody has the backs of our brave men and women. I'm telling you, that guy probably has every right to feel like he has been betrayed by his own government. After all, after that Koran burning incident, 6 of our soldiers get killed, nothing's ever done about it. There's no apology from Karzai, no investigation, nobody's been taken into custody. And so this guy, how would you feel if it was you and 6 of your buddies got shot down in cold blood by these worthless, unappreciative Afghan civilians? I mean, soldiers. I'd be upset too. That doesn't justify killing 16 people, but it is rather obvious that this mission in Afghanistan is now a total failure. And Barack Obama is responsible for it because he never, ever has the backs of our brave men and women in the military. And it's just all there is to it. This is the guy cutting the defense budget. He says, go out and win wars, baby. But let me see if I can get rid of about $1.5 trillion so I can give it to all our worthless deadbeats as far as social programs go in our own country. It just doesn't work. And it's rather obvious. They don't want us there, and trust me, we don't want to be there. So surely there should be some meeting of the minds right now. In fact, let's just go take it to the next logical step. Let's just get out of Afghanistan. It is an absolute pus pit over there, and there's nothing that we can do about it. What we ought to do is what Joe Biden had to say, God help me for agreeing with him, is just get the troops out, build a base, and leave a strategic strike force of about 25,000 troops there, keep all our Predator drones and all our air assets there, and get the hell out. And then, if anything happens and the Taliban tries to move back in, we send the airstrikes in and take those people out. It seems to be working in places like Yemen. It would work in Afghanistan. And why not? These people are nothing but ungrateful bastards. And you know what's going to happen after this incident. More anti-Americanism. And not one person will stand up for the brave men and women in our military. And we will have to act like a bunch of damn cowards because of our worthless commander-in-chief, the man who is not a Muslim. Until next time, this is your favorite conservative, Ronald Reagan, saying this to you now. To you brave men and women in the military stationed in Afghanistan right now, we feel your pain. You were sent over there to fight this war and to win it. And of course, it is hopeless for you to win it because your worthless commander-in-chief does not have your back. Until next time, I say this now. Over and